Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Nguyen, and the Insider crew.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 189. We are back at PCA's national office. Just wanted to say, before I introduce everyone, is to, of course, thank our presenting sponsor, Pirelli. Pirelli tires have to achieve the highest levels of performance, safety, noiselessness, and grip on the road surface. Innovative tires that can satisfy even the most specific mobility needs of the end consumer. I want to thank you all for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member, there's one next to me here, by the way, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And own a Porsche, what are you waiting for? Be sure to have your VIN handy. And for those of you that don't currently own a Porsche, check out our test drive program. Just head over to pca.org and get yourself set up. On this episode, we're going to speak to Martin Simon, a Porsche enthusiast who is also the general manager of a Toyota dealership. We'll find out how much and different the challenges are from the Toyota side. I do want to welcome Manny and Damon as well. They're the ones that keep this everything running. And Can I start with a question from one of our members that maybe some of our listeners can answer real quick? And I had never heard of this one before. 986.2 Boxster. He's having a starter issue, and he thought it was getting heat soaked. And he's changed the ignition switch. He's changed the starter. And it's still, when it gets, been driving for a while, comes to a stop, then tries to drive again, the starter just won't. And he's obviously replaced the starter. I checked with one of our Goldmeister techs. It's not a common problem, Eric.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it.
914 said that problem.
Yeah, exactly. So the one thing I didn't think that might contribute to it that the Goldmeister said you might want to check, Eric, is check your engine compartment fan, because those do fail, and perhaps the engine compartment temperature is rising to a level that is affecting your starter. So look at that. And for those of you that are listening, if you've experienced this, comment below if you have any tips or suggestions for Eric to keep his starter from heat soaking, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. 914 never had a relay, so all you got to do is insert a relay, and that solves the problem.
Yeah. So Martin Simon, you are the Ourisman Toyota General Manager. I'm going to give a shout out to our mutual friend, Ed Wheaton, who hopefully he's a top dog at Ourisman. Yep. And he put us together, and we'll hopefully have him on the show as well, because he's got some interesting insight as he has responsibility across multiple brands. But we have you on here today because, one, we want to learn a little bit about you and your Porsche background, but then also maybe if you can give us some insight, how things have changed for Toyota, because things are changing obviously for Porsche as well. And there are some similarities in the market. And hopefully we can dig into that. But let's just start with, what's your background? How did you, what's your Porsche background first?
Well, great to be here. Thanks for having me on. I've been in the car business 20 years. So I started as a paint and body tech, and of course I just like cars. Mm-hmm. The JDM world was the first thing. So of course one of my first cars was a 93 Civic that had a smashed windshield and smashed rear windshield. Had to go to the Crazy Rays.
Yeah. Crazy Rays.
Oh yeah. I had to go to Crazy Rays, grab some windshields, Gorilla glued them in. Yeah. Smushed the roofs back together. And, from there, I went on to, more fabrication, mechanical work, started going into the service side of things, became a service advisor, eventually flipped over to the sales side, and so on and so forth, and just kind of worked through that way. But, with the Porsche, it was always just that dream car. It was the car on the wall.
Yeah.
Whether it was the Carrera GTs, whether it was the 959s, just the 911s in general, the iconic shape, the body, everything of the car. Some people, in these car communities I was in, they used to talk about, all Porsches look the same. You can't tell which one's good, which one's not.
Yeah.
But that was always something that I think was appealing to me. That it was, some of them were wolves in sheep's clothing. I mean, they were all high performance vehicles, but the love of Porsche started very, very early. However, it really was always just that poster car, right? It wasn't until much later on that figuring out attainability, right? Figuring out how to get into the brand or actually just, be a part of it rather than standing next to it, right?
Yeah. And that was the same for Manny and I as well. Like, we always had this dream. I think we had other cars purely from a financial standpoint. You couldn't, your first car wasn't a Porsche, but you had that dream. And Manny has, I think he's always really appreciated the engineering of cars, the way they were designed by the dealer. I think for me, I'm a tinkerer, so I have always tinkered with my cars, and when I got to the Porsche world, I kind of had to learn, was that reasonable to start tinkering, or was it to keep things the same? And like you said, which Porsche should you buy, and is this a good model? Is that a good model? Should you do turbo, not turbo, and all that kind of stuff? Did you find it? How long did it take for you to get through all that noise and understand which car you were finally going to get?
So I think in the car community in general, but particularly in the Porsche brand, getting into it's really daunting because it's almost like you think that you're going to experience judgment if you get the wrong brand or the wrong model. However,
you don't say.
But it seems like, and from the experience that I had over the years, that's really only external. Inside the community, they're all appreciated.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just something that hasn't been talked about a lot because, say, for example, I was on the JDM side, and if I was thinking about getting a Cayman or something, they're like, oh, it's not a 911, right?
Right.
But then you kind of talk to Porsche guys, and they go, that's a great car.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great car. That's a track monster. That's gonna eat my Carrera S up on the track.
Yeah.
No problem. So I think that it took probably till late 20s, early 30s that I kind of like figured out, it's just a car. And, I think that was also the same point too, where I started to be less concerned with other people's opinions of it and just enjoy the cars that I enjoyed. I got another car that I get a wrath of crap about because it's the 93 RX-7.
Oh, I love those.
Big single turbo, all the stuff. It's all modded out. I'm a tinkerer as well. But people are like, oh, it's a rotary. They're unreliable. They're this, they're that, right? And in the same way too. So it's just like people would say the same thing about the M96 engines or something, right? For every single characteristic models, they've got these expected problems. But I try to explain to people, I said, rotaries are fine. Mm-hmm. But the reason why they've always broken is because, one, there's very few moving pieces. You've normally got some 19, 22-year-old kid that's got a 120,000-mile car that he decided to put on every single bolt on eBay, and he just blows it up. And he goes, oh, it's unreliable.
Right.
But you've done zero maintenance. You've done zero repair to the car to actually get it ready for what you're trying to use it for.
Right.
So, doing it right. I mean, I've beat on this car for the past 6 years. I'm not nice to it.
Yeah. And that's what I think Manny and I always, and Damon as well, is when people come to us saying they want to get into the Porsche world, we want to help them get into the right car. Because much like what you were saying about the RX-7 and people saying it's unreliable, this, that, and the other, a lot of the people that have terrible experiences with their first Porsche is because they bought the wrong Porsche. They bought the car that was clapped out, wasn't maintained, or they just... if someone's going into a 986 or an M96 motor, like I have like a list of things that you should do when you get a used one. Just do all this stuff, and then you'll be set. And then people have this expectation that they will, that they can be prepared for. But it's those people that buy those cars thinking that the purchase price is the only thing they need to worry about.
Yep.
And they buy a $15,000 996, and then they're like, wait a minute, why do I have a $5,000, $6,000 bill now? This is terrible. I'm like, no. You should have gone into it knowing that you need to spend that to make sure that you prepare the car for the future.
We get calls here all the time where they'll say, I'm looking at a $7,000 Panamera.
Oh.
What could go wrong if I buy? I'm like, what could go wrong?
But you've got the other spectrum of the buyer, though. The guy who goes, I only want a 2009 997 that's got 5,000 miles on it. But then on the mechanical side, the car hasn't been driven. These cars need to be driven.
Oh, absolutely.
They need to be driven. There's like a happy balance. There's a sweet spot of low mileage,
Right.
for example, but to get a good value car at a good price that you can drive because it's been driven and maintained throughout that process. I mean, so some people just go completely the other way.
Absolutely. I will take a car that has been driven regularly and serviced as opposed to a cream puff that has been sitting and only has 5,000 miles. Unless I had tons of money and I was just building a museum, then it didn't matter. Then I would want a low mileage car. But
Sure.
I live in the world where I'm going to drive my cars, right? So
Right. Yeah, my 996 Turbo's got 75,000 miles on it. And I got it because, one, the opportunity came up, but I bought it from a friend of mine.
Oh,
Now,
nice.
I was telling Manny, actually, that he's a little controversial in the Porsche community because
You know who he bought it from?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he runs a business in Baltimore County where he swaps LS engines into Porsches.
Oh, I know who that is.
Tyler, yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
yep. Chavis Performance Engineering.
Chavis,
So
yeah. Okay.
he's a really good guy. He loves cars, but
Yep.
he's got personally cars that have Porsche engines in them, and
Yep.
then otherwise
The LS swaps.
engines. Yeah. But if there was anybody that was going to buy a car from, it was going to be him, right? Because you buy from someone who's such an enthusiast about the brand, who goes through all the problems of trying to fix them or swap them or whatever.
right.
That that level of maintenance or level of attention to detail of ownership or drivability. I mean, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
And you picked the right model. I mean, as much as I love my 996 and it's been great for me, and I'll knock on wood lightly here. But the 996 twin turbo platform, I mean, I still think that's quite the bargain for people for the amount of power you get. And I personally love the looks of a 996. Like,
Yep.
yeah, that's a great.
Did you pick the turbo because people told you to get a turbo, or made you get a turbo versus a regular?
No, I
Normally
wanted it.
aspirated.
I mean, I've always been kind of a forced induction guy when it came to cars.
I was about to say you like big power. So,
yeah. But well, now I'm toning it down.
Oh, you've matured.
I tried.
Whatever.
This RX-7 can't hook up for anything. It's
yeah.
2,600 pounds and 600 horsepower. So
Yeah.
but it's just, especially with a 996 turbo. I mean, what a great driving car, right? But also, I'm a lover of like older cars. Given the same money, would I have gotten, I don't know, a 2000, like a 991.1 S or something like that? I could get that for in that ballpark of money.
Yep.
Somewhere close.
Yeah.
And I don't know, sometimes I think that, especially when you love cars, that you love the car for what it is, and the screens, everything, it's all just kind of a distraction, right? And it's not nearly as analog. I know people, very cliche, they say it's analog and all that kind of stuff. That's why they say the same things about manuals versus PDKs.
Right.
But, just lack of distraction. One of my favorite cars I ever had was an E36 M3.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, super fun. It was, when it started its life, 275 horsepower. When I sold it, it probably had 100 horsepower left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just old. It's had miles on it. It's been driven.
Right.
But, there's something about, actually being in the car to drive the car. I was talking to a friend of mine. He actually just bought a Toyota truck from me, a manual Tacoma.
Nice.
And he's a great guy. He's in the military. Appreciate all the military members. And I've known him for 30 plus years. He said, throughout this time of owning my car, I realized that all the trucks that I had previous to this, because they were all automatics or whatever, he goes, I was just, a passenger in the car that had some input. But he goes, now I actually take my car for a drive.
Nice.
Right. And then that's how I feel about my cars,
Yeah.
my 996 Turbo. I just take it for a drive. There's no destination.
Right.
It's like that journey. Right. And so that's the fun part about having the car.
Now, have you restrained yourself? Have you kept it stock, or have you modified it?
So it already had a little bit of modification done to it when I got it, and I don't really see too much of a need to go much further.
Stock is already like 4 something, right? Stock 450 or something like that.
No, I think it's the S or
Okay.
X50 package.
Okay, but I mean, plenty of power for the street stock.
415, I believe.
415. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right there. 415.
Yeah.
And it's got, has the turbo twist wheels. Love
Yeah.
the look of those.
Yeah.
So it's really just a little bit of spacers, aftermarket suspension, lightweight flywheel,
Oh. Okay.
and then
That's a nice
the
touch.
what is that brand? The BBI slave conversion.
Okay.
Just a little bit of a stiffer clutch in there
Right.
as well.
Right.
But it means that I can't listen to the radio because that flywheel is just chattering the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, it's fun. It's fun.
And that, again, for the street, that's all you need. And I've seen that platform modified to 800 horsepower, which you can do, but really, it's how much can you enjoy that on the street?
I mean, that's good for clickbait.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not usable.
So what do you ever drive it to the Toyota dealership? Or
try not to.
You kind of keep it on the DL?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a fair bit of them know that I have it.
Yeah.
But, I've got my electric Toyota sitting outside.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. How did you get to become the general manager of a Toyota dealership?
I actually reached out to Ed Wheaton on a LinkedIn post.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And then so he actually gave me a call, and then we sort of went through the process of seeing what opportunities were out there. I didn't know what I was applying to or who I was talking to.
What were you doing at the time?
So I was still in the car business as
Okay.
General sales manager at the previous auto group.
Okay.
And, I was just kind of looking for a different challenge. And then when he said, well, I actually am in need at Toyota. So I love that brand. I mean, my dad's got a '07 FJ Cruiser with 300,000 miles on it.
That's a great brand to be tied to.
Yep. Yeah. And, but the brand in general, I mean, we were talking a little bit before the recording, and it does have a lot of similarities to Porsche just as an import brand. Mm-hmm. And we were talking a little bit about what are some of the challenges that we face. And right now it really is sort of politically, right, as an import brand. So one of the challenges that we face is that we all have talked about tariffs, we've talked about importation, we've talked about where production's happening. But at a dealership level, even in my position, I still feel very underinformed because the manufacturers, they're sort of dealing with all of that kind of stuff. They're the ones that are making the business deals. They're the ones that are, the trade agreements, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, lucky for us, Akio Toyota has been sort of
vocal,
but also leading the charge. He's basically been doing the negotiation with the U.S. government for almost all of the Japanese companies.
Yeah, it's funny that you talk about this because Manny has talked to several of our partners in the local dealerships. How we obviously watch the news and try to bring all of that here for the podcast, and sometimes we bring up topics with our dealer counterparts, and they're like, I didn't hear that yet, and as you said, as a dealer, you would hope that the manufacturer will keep all these folks informed. But before we go into that side of the house, let me do a couple of announcements here. One is I want to make sure everyone knows that the fall member raffle is live, and we want to thank Porsche Cars North America for allowing us to have two great prizes. The first grand prize is a 2026 911 GTS plus $35,000 cash, and the second grand prize, which are the cars that we add as the raffle grows, will be a 911 Carrera plus $35,000 cash. And I do want to recognize our official corporate sponsor, in addition to Pirelli, Auto Atlanta. If you're chasing down parts that you need to find, they can help you out. If you're restoring a turbo, a 914, or looking for a part for your 996, give them a call. Either way, Auto Atlanta has you covered. They've been taking care of Porsche since 1978. They have every Porsche part. They can ship internationally. They also offer tech advice as well, no matter where you are in the world, online at autoatlanta.com. They have Porsche specialists, so they can help you with understanding mechanical repairs for full restorations or regular servicing, or if you're just detailing car. Again, they have the parts for you. They also buy and sell pre-owned vehicles. So yeah, if you have a Porsche in your garage that needs a new home, let them know. Or if you're looking for one, give them a call. Again, head to Auto Atlanta to find Porsche parts that you need, no matter how rare you think they are, and be sure to use the PCA 5% discount code PCA, the number 5, OFF. Again, that's autoatlanta.com. Porsche parts, Porsche people, Porsche passion since 1978. So let's get into the connection. Manny, there is a connection, and some of our listeners might not know the connection between Porsche and Toyota, especially in the 90s when it was a critical moment for Porsche.
Yeah, Porsche was on the verge of bankruptcy, in the 90s. They were selling the all-time low amount of cars, nothing like today. And when Wendland Wiedeking, the CEO from Porsche AG, took over, he enlisted retired Toyota engineers, and I think the program was called Kaizen.
Kaizen.
Yeah. And basically made the company more efficient. While German engineering and the whole mystique of Porsche was still there, they weren't doing it financially efficiently. And they instituted the just-in-time parts. In fact, what I've read is they actually came in and cut the racking in half, so they couldn't store parts like they used to. And the end result was the 993 was able to be sold $5,000 cheaper than the 964, which was unheard of. That this more modern 911 was going to be $5,000 less because of these improvements in the manufacturing and inventory techniques. So, for the Germans to go to the Japanese like that and basically admit that they needed help to save their company took a lot, but it paid off dividends.
Mm-hmm. And if you have the opportunity to visit Stuttgart and go, or even at Leipzig and go on the production lines, and you can see it even today at an even more advanced level of this just-in-time inventory. They literally have parts that are delivered by the truck moments before they are needed on the line. The bumpers, the wheels, the doors, like all of this is all computerized. There's robotics involved as well, but all comes together on the line only when it's needed. So when you build your car with unique combinations, all of this, the system knows that some shop is going to produce it or manufacturing facility is going to produce it 2 hours away. They have to produce it in time to get it on the truck, and let's not have the truck be late, so it gets there at the assembly area, gets into the line, and then Porsche finally does the final assembly. And of course the quality has to match. I mean, it's an incredible complex process, but as Manny said, by refining this, they've been able to bring about efficiency, bring costs down, but then also the quality of the cars have also gone up. Pretty cool. Now, I'm sure, Martin, you're familiar with what's going on with Porsche in terms of the complex puzzle that they have to solve with the drop in demand in China for Porsches as well as non-Chinese vehicles. So when you lose a big market like that, you have some challenges. But then coupled with the fact that you have your internal combustion engine 718 and Boxsters that were slated to go away, EVs that are slated to come online, then you have the whole battery issue. Like, man, we feel terrible that they have to try to figure all of this out at the same time. But there are some solutions that people have talked about where maybe they can take a platform from, say, VW or Audi and create a unique Porsche vehicle and produce it. That's not completely unheard of. They've done that kind of before as well.
Sure.
Toyota more recently partnered with BMW and Subaru. Mm-hmm. How is that? Because you've gone through it as opposed to where Porsche is thinking about it right now. How was it received by the customer when a AE86, or what did they call them when they first came out? The little Subaru partnership car.
Oh, you're talking about the GR86.
GR86.
I thought you were talking about the Supra.
Yeah. And then also the Supra. So Supra was, lift the bonnet, and obviously you see BMW logos everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, how did your consumer base feel about that?
So it's always a mixed bag, right? Because just like any other community, there's purists. I mean, you talk about a car. I mean, the GR86 wasn't, it wasn't crazy. The reason why it wasn't crazy is because it was a new car, right? So whether you had the FRS, the Toyota version, the Scion version.
Oh, so you didn't go away from what it was. It was just a new car.
Right.
Okay.
It was just a new car.
Uh-huh.
I think it was more controversial when it came to the Supra, because you had the iconic 2JZ.
Exactly.
Right?
How do you follow that?
Right. I mean, and to the point where I have a 2JZ sitting in my closet at work because I'll eventually build it one day, but I have a brand new 2JZ block just sitting there. But, it really kind of brings to light sometimes how much people miss the old stuff,
Yeah.
right? How much they appreciate it, how much even the consumer who loved it back then is now, let's say, for example, financially capable to join that community. And now that it's changed,
Right.
now that it's, a BMW engine, for example, even the interior of the car has the same BMW controls, the knob,
Right.
and like the nav and info button, it's all there.
Yeah.
But just programmed into a Toyota branding. I think it actually worked out well, though, because once people got around to driving them, once people got around to experiencing it, it isn't necessarily a replacement. It's more of a homage to what it was. It was a big, long-nosed car with a powerful engine with lots of potential in it, sleek lines. It looked very close to, the concept that they put out years ago, which is great. Because, we all know that whenever we've got concept cars that are coming over the horizon, you look at it and these beautiful lines and these aggressive looks and this futuristic shape, and then you get the real car and it's like,
Yeah. Well, and that's what we've talked about in the past. Like a lot of our members, a lot of the enthusiasts are so loyal to the past. Like when something new comes out, if it's anything different, they're just automatically going to poo-poo it. Like it's easy to hate. But
it's like the 991 to the 991.2.
Yeah, like you can't expect a 2JZ to be made today. Like the parameters, the environment in which that Toyota faces.
But are the customers that are buying the new Supra?
Yeah.
So we just did a show about this. As vocal as enthusiasts are, they're not necessarily buying the new cars that come out because for whatever reason. So they're vocal about it, but they have no intention of buying it regardless. Even if Porsche built something that everything they asked for, odds are they still wouldn't buy the car.
Sure.
But the people that are buying it aren't these quote unquote enthusiasts. They're just either new to the brand or whatnot. Was that the case with the new Supra where it was just new buyers who really liked the look of it and didn't have a connection to the past?
I thought it was going to be more like that, but it was more half and half.
Yeah,
really?
It was definitely more half and half. Once people started to realize the capability of it and kind of what it was in its own identity, I think that was kind of the difference maker. I mean, it really is up to us dealers to analyze these cars, but also figure out how to interpret them to the general public, to market and advertise them, to sell them, right? I mean, at the end of the day, there are so many features and options on any given car that unless you have the right person showing it to you, giving you the experience of the car, you're not going to get its full value. You're not going to see what it's really made for or what the differences were, why it's better.
So in terms of volume, in A86, let's say that's the Cayman, and then the Supra, let's say that's the 911 versus the SUVs. We have Macans, Cayennes.
Oh,
you
minimal,
have
very minimal.
RAV4. You
Yeah.
have Highlander. You have the bigger one. What's the bigger one? I can't remember.
The Grand Highlander and then also Sequoia.
Yeah, so you have all these other, and that's really your bread and butter these days, right? So,
Sure.
so the volume of these sports cars are so small.
Very, very small.
As enthusiasts, let's just celebrate the fact that they're still making them, because I don't think they're making a ton of money off of them, right?
Because the thing is, the volume comes so low, right? I mean, for example, the RAV4, #1 selling vehicle in the world.
Yeah, fantastic car.
In the world, you know, they overtook the F-150s. You remember those commercials?
absolutely.
F-150,
best-selling
#1
car in America,
or best-selling car in the world, right?
Yeah.
But
RAV4.
now they had to change their commercial. Now they say F-Series trucks, #1 selling trucks in the world,
They
right?
lost to the puny RAV4.
RAV4.
Wow.
It's
My
very
daughter
good stuff.
Justine is a proud owner. She's a proud owner. It's a great car.
It's a great car. They last forever. One of the other things that Toyota has in similar to Porsche, particularly some of the more desirable models, is residual value. It's resale value.
Resale, yeah.
Yeah, resale value, which is why a lot of times, we tell people is that just buy the new one, because the used one, it's almost just as much.
Right.
Right.
And it has a higher interest rate because it's a used car or something like that, right?
Something, but the thing is, I mean, recent model years and stuff like that, financing is usually available very close to new car.
Oh, okay.
So that's changed over the years too, which is nice.
Are Toyota dealers doing what Porsche dealers do and adding ADMs on certain cars?
I think some.
Really?
I mean, we don't, but
Yeah.
I think the GR86 when it first came out, didn't it have some ADMs on it?
yeah.
Limited supply.
Yeah, I mean, limited supply. I can see the business model for that. At the same time, though, it has to be like in your DNA of your business, right? People have to be ready to respond to that.
Yeah.
Because when that first customer calls and just sits there and calls you an absolute criminal for trying to ask too much for a car. What do you say?
Yeah.
Right. And so the way that I was brought up was to treat customers very fairly, to offer great value and offer great service. So it's not something that I ever kind of built into my model.
Yeah. But I also don't, I mean, there's some crazy ADMs, which I don't agree with. But, you know, if you're mad at anyone, I say this before, is if you're mad at anyone, be mad at the person that paid that crazy ADM. Like, they're in a business to sell cars. They're in the business to pay overhead. And if they can make a little extra money or a substantial amount of money, like, can you fault them if someone's willing to pay for it?
No, and I think that that's fine, right? Because really, in regards to specialty models, particularly in the Porsche lineup, I mean, I was talking to Manny a little bit about kind of like barriers of entry into ownership and into membership, right? And if someone values that, I mean, whatever something is worth is what someone will pay for it, right? So if someone's going to put something out there 100 over, and then somebody pays it, then it's probably worth it, right?
So back to the partnering with BMW and Subaru. So if you were talking to a decision maker at Porsche, do you think it would be wise for them to take a platform from another manufacturer and dial it in Porsche wise and try to get a car on the lot sooner than 5 years?
So I think the thing that I would probably say or ask is what you're asking of this other brand or other company. Is it going to match your DNA? As in, is it going to serve the same purpose in the greater machine, right? Or is this really just, a cash grab to lower cost to try to find new outlets and opportunities? I think that the partnerships with, let's say, Subaru and BMW were very calculated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They didn't go to BMW to say, hey, help us with an electric vehicle. They said, help us with a performance vehicle. So what did they do? They took their most robust and honestly one of their more reliable engines. Yeah. That 58. I mean, that's a great engine. Yeah. Right. And so you put that type of DNA, it was there to Jay-Z. Right. Yeah. And so it matched. And then the same thing with a partnership with Subaru. Right. So we partnered with them with, the little sports car, but also the electric car. So I have a BZ4X. It's an electric SUV, a little smaller than a RAV4, but they have the Solterra, which is the same exact car. Right. And so we can share in those platforms because the technology and everything, it sort of serves the same purpose for both. It's just iterations. It's like how, they brought in the Kaizen expert at Porsche, and it fit the DNA of what they were trying to do. They needed to improve their process, and Kaizen is 2 words that literally means continuous improvement. So that's been, Toyota's ideology for a long time. So they wanted to inject that DNA into the Porsche manufacturing.
Yeah, they injected more efficiency without losing their original DNA.
Right.
So they actually got a better car. So that kept everything that they were looking for.
So I have a little comment because so Toyota, they've only done collaboration sports cars over the past 10, 15 years
recently.
Yeah, they haven't built their own all by themselves, which at first I thought, why would they do that? But those cars have turned out so good that it's like, okay, yeah, it works. So my question here is, and maybe it's not a question, it's more of a statement that I'd like to see what your reaction would be.
Sure.
So Toyota and Mazda, there's that rumor going around that they're going to do some sort of collaboration sports car, and I forget which one it's supposed to be. But how about this? Toyota and Porsche get a new MR2 and 914.
That would be super
I think that would be awesome.
Oh,
now, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that'd be super cool.
Look, Ari's shaking his head.
I think it's a great idea, but I don't think there's any history of Porsche ever doing anything outside of their Volkswagen family.
Yeah.
True, but I'm thinking big here because I would love to see something like that happen.
You would have to think within the family, the Volkswagen family. Right. I think it would be a great idea, but I know just knowing how we know the Porsche family and whatnot, I don't see them.
All right, let me throw this scenario and maybe ask the same question, but in a different way. So the Macan ICE version is obviously the best-selling Porsche out there. That is going away. Your RAV4, as we just talked about, is your best-selling vehicle.
Yep.
And most of them are ICE. I know you have them in hybrid as well. But let's say the ICE version of the RAV4 got to go next year. and you only have in its replacement an ICE version, and I'm sorry, a EV version of the RAV4, how would you feel?
So we are leaning more towards the hybrid version.
Right, but I'm not saying hybrid. In the scenario for Porsche, your RAV4, it went from ICE to purely EV. You don't have that hybrid option, right, Manny? We don't have a hybrid option right now for the Macan.
It's the
So how do you feel?
Cayenne and Panamera.
So that is an interesting proposition because, when people think of a Prius, right, in their minds, it might as well be an EV because it's been known as like the top level of fuel efficiency for how long?
Right.
But as of right now, we have very few EV cars.
Right. I wrote it here. You have the BZ and what's the other? There's one more.
The CHR?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. There's so few of them because they've sort of mastered, not being sort of unbothered by the EPA, right? A lot of these EVs are in reaction to having to lower the total EPA lineup average. Right. So I don't know. I think that some companies are more prepared than others.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have to do something as drastic as pull an entire line, pull your best-selling line, because that's the only way that you can kind of.
It's crazy to think that, right? Like that's why I posed it to you. Your best-selling car is going away, and your only solution, or the only thing that's slated currently, is an EV-only platform.
Well, it was sort of like how a lot of brands have gone away from sedans. So
I was actually going to ask you about that as well.
Well, because I used to work at Chevy. So I worked at Chevy for the longest portion of my career. And our dealership, we were the number 10 cruise dealer in the country.
Wow.
Out of like 3,600 deals, we were selling.
In Baltimore?
Yeah.
That's where we bought our daughter's cruise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were.
That's how I met Ed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We were 60 cruises a month.
Yeah.
Right. And then they said, okay, so we're not producing the cruise anymore.
Yeah.
You're like,
What?
oh, yeah. So what do we do, right? So then you switch gears, right? And so then we had found more success in, let's say, the Malibu or the Equinox lineup.
But then the Malibu goes away.
Then the Malibu goes away. So then it was all Equinox after that, right? And then all the smaller SUVs. Then came the Trax.
Yeah.
So, then came, it's a Korean-built car, but it's actually a really cool car. And it was sizable. It was about the size of a Cruise. It was just
higher up.
Just a little bit.
And I think
not by much.
I think the market just wants that now. They have this SUV mentality. No one, very rarely do people think sedans anymore. I love the sedan.
It made me think about when we were talking about collaborations, and BMW to me is on the same level as Toyota. So it's not a shock. We inherited a Chevy. What's a Sonic? The one we have.
Oh, your Sonic.
Which I found out was a Daewoo.
Yeah.
And to me, that was Chevy taking a quick buck, because there's no way I equate Daewoo to Chevy.
Yeah.
Because I have a Suburban that's been flawless for almost 300,000 miles. And then I get this other thing that breaks down every 5,000 miles. And when I find out it's a Daewoo, I'm like, well, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because it's, and so to me, I that took my view of Chevy and dropped it down a couple notches, because I thought, here they are, they're just going after the money grab because they needed a cheap subcompact car, and instead of building one themselves, they just bought Daewoos and rebadged them.
Yeah. So more a little bit about the disappearing market for sedans. You helped out. The reason why we connected was because through Ed and one of our staff here was looking for a new car, and they were getting the runaround with some dealers, and your dealer took great care of her and got the exact car that she wanted.
Yep.
And I'm assuming at the price that she wanted. But she was one of the unique persons that wanted to get into she had a Camry sedan, got into a new Camry sedan.
Yep.
I didn't realize, and Manny pointed out to me, Camrys are no longer ICE only. They're hybrid.
Yep.
And so when I saw her car and I saw the performance ratings on it, I'm like, wow, that's impressive. A sedan that does like crazy mileage and stuff like that. I would think that market didn't even flinch when it was moved to
How
hybrid.
many people come in and realize that they're also buying hybrids for the Camry now?
So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. One of the big pillars that we have really is educating people, right? Because much like anything with sales, it really comes down to education. Education builds value. So the more somebody knows, or the more you can tell them, show them, let them experience about a vehicle, then they'll.
So it's not a plug-in hybrid. It's a regular. And I would think, since it's not plug-in, the net makes people think it's a regular gas, and less complexity maybe of having to hook up a charger.
Yeah.
Even though plug-in will give you
it's not even about the
EV-only stuff.
complexity though. It's about the convenience, right? It's about like the life intrusion almost.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been a combustion guy, basically just how I've been talking. The car that I have is not a demo. I bought it, and I bought it before I worked for Toyota. And
Your BZ?
yeah,
And your BZ is plug-in?
yeah, it's full EV.
Full EV, okay.
Yeah, and for me, it was a great deal on the car. I kind of liked the way it looked, and I was like, oh, this is a good option. Because prior to that, I had this Range Rover Sport, and I had it for a few years, and I was like, oh, it's a cool car.
Yeah.
It's great. And I had a few of them in a row. And I was like, oh, just let me try something different, because I'd get a new car like every 2 years, truthfully. But a big part of the reason why I got the car, it drives like a normal car. I'm not trying to offend any Tesla people, but the way that they drive it, like, feels like a roller coaster.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And this car drives like a normal car.
Oh.
So, when I introduce people to this car, let's say I meet a customer and I talk to them about it, this is the first thing I tell them. But by the way, it drives like a normal car. And they go, oh.
Huh.
And that's a big thing, right? So you mentioned, plug-in hybrids or kinetic hybrid systems like Toyota has. It's not an intrusion to the way they live their life, right? It's great to know about it. It's great to be educated about it. But as long as it doesn't screw up their flow for how they operate or how they live, they just say thank you for the extra fuel economy.
Like, I think you also enjoy, much like Porsche does, like a Toyota product. We talked about depreciation. I think Toyota products are known to hold their value because they're so reliable and such.
Yep.
Hybrids, I would expect, is not even an issue. Do Toyota EV only have depreciation concerns?
Yeah.
More than the
rest of the lineup, sure.
Because people don't know when they'll have to replace it or how much it will cost to replace it. So how do you talk to the customer through that?
So the good part is that the Toyota owner tends to be a very long ownership.
Yeah.
The
Long ownership cycle.
Yeah, very, very, very long ownership cycle. I see people come through our service department that have 2012 Tacomas with 150,000 miles, and they go, yep, she's just getting started, right?
Yeah.
It's very common.
Sure.
And I think that's much less common in most other brands. So the cycle of ownership of a Toyota owner is much longer. So although it's like nice to know that it's worth money, it's like, I know a guy who's got a 993 turbo.
Right.
But he's never going to sell it.
Right. Yeah.
He's never going to sell it. So he's like,
What's
yeah,
it matter? Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to know it's worth 300 grand, but what does it matter?
Right.
He's just going to own it. So same thing with Toyota customers. It's nice to know that your car is worth a fair bit of money. And if you wanted to trade it in a couple of years, you get really great value for it. But why would you?
Yeah. So how about the manual versus automatic? I think the GR series, the Toyotas finally came out, because for a while the Supras came out automatic only, and then they finally came out with manual. In the Porsche world, we get this statement all the time, but what people don't realize is it takes much longer for a dealer to sell a manual car than it does a PDK car or a automatic.
Sure. I think that also bleeds into one thing, and this is kind of off topic, but it's the modern society of drivers, or lack thereof.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of younger cousins and stuff like that, and they're all in their like early 20s. Half of them don't have driver's licenses. They don't care about driving.
They can Uber or Lyft anywhere.
Uber or Lyft, everything's on demand. Everything's just like ready to go all the time. The transportation is no longer like a pillar of freedom anymore. It's sort of just like, it just comes with the territory. You're just going to hit some buttons.
But I'll counter you with, I think those people have always existed, but they had to drive in order to get around, right? Like,
sure.
If you think about in high school, there were just people that drove because they have to, but they never loved driving.
Yeah.
So now these people, your cousins that you're talking about, they have an option.
Oh, yeah.
But I think if you see any Cars and Coffee, if you see all the events that we have around, I think that there are more enthusiasts now because of, internet influencers and this, that, and the other. I think there are more. This is not about manual versus automatic, but
sure.
This is more about enthusiasts. But I think we have more enthusiasts today and more things to do as a car enthusiast because of the internet.
Sure. I mean, to be fair too, to your point, the organization of community has become more advanced, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, the car meets that I used to go to,
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts,
like,
right?
yeah, like 10 people, 12 people.
Yeah, it's the same people that just showed up.
Yeah.
That sat around the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot because the owners didn't mind and no one caused any trouble, and you just sit there and drink your $1 coffee, and just look at the same cars that you see every single week, right? And then the influx of more clubs and more organized events and more official events, really more than anything else, that also brought in like a higher level consumer, right? So, I mean, again, I've just, other than Hunt Valley Horsepower or Cars and Coffee or something, in my viewpoint, in my experience, there was actually not that many events like available, right?
Exactly. But the younger generation, like my kids, I don't want to say force is a strong word, but
highly influenced.
I put them in a car and they had no choice. They had to drive a manual. But it's more selfish for me, because if I need to help move a car, they got to be able to drive one of them. And
sure.
Anyways, but today's society, if you enjoy the romance of a manual, absolutely enjoy it. The younger generation coming up, I think, also puts the performance aspect of, because back in the day when you chose an automatic, it was typically power robbing, or it was the slower version of the car.
Sure.
But today's automatics / PDKs, they're lightning fast. They are the higher performance cars, so they're not giving up something to be able to row their own gears.
Right.
We row our own gears. Really, it's just
I hear a lot
romantic.
of them called dual clutch transmissions manuals.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
if you search on like Auto Trader, they come up as that.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you were to search manual, all like the DCTs and stuff like that,
they'll come up as
manual.
Okay. Now, how does we talked about how China and such has affected Porsche, but I would think Toyota is a Japanese brand, and if China is pushing their folks to buy a Chinese, a BYD or whatever, it has to have affected Toyota. And so what's it been like for you with the drop in market in China? And let's not forget, you mentioned it earlier, the tariffs and such.
Well, I think that those effects, I mean, as a manufacturer, they're going to feel that. I think that Toyota North America sort of, I don't want to speak for the executives of the company, but it sort of like operates on its own. Because, I mean, for example, the manufacturing in the U.S., 80% of the Toyotas that were sold last year were built in the United States. And I think that that's something, a really big deal on what the, Japanese company that Toyota is, to invest in the American economy, right? And I think that's why we've also done so well. But that being the case, the factories are running at an average of 107% efficiency.
Oh, wow.
So they're churning out as much as they can, and yet it's still a fairly scarce product. So the uniqueness of a Toyota dealership is this one thing. And, for all my other Toyota dealers out there and salespeople and sales managers, they know that Toyotas are actually hard to come by. So when trying to find your employee's car, there was only one within 250 miles that matched her description?
Really?
One.
Oh, wow. And you got it for her.
Yes.
Kudos to you. Your team.
And that comes from good relationships and stuff like that, because you have to trade with other dealers in order to get what you need. But, with the amount of efficiency and the amount of product they're putting out there, it's actually still not enough, because there's only about 1,200 to 1,240, 1,246 dealers in the U.S. in comparison to, say, a domestic like Chevy, where there are 3,600 dealers. So, we're that effect that the Chinese market has, I think it really is more on a global scale that's kind of outside the U.S. What they're trying to do with some other things, whether it's, products or items in the car that they produce and sort of that trade agreement, I think that that's going to have an affectation later. But, right now, I think that everyone's just sort of trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. And in the product mix of Toyota, and Toyota's been very vocal about hybrid technology, and obviously the Prius is just like the gold standard for
and now they look
hybrid.
cool.
And now they do look cool. I will say they look now
cool
look
now.
cool with a set of rims. Like you could be pretty well set. So do you think Porsche should, because as I told you, they went from ICE to pure EV Macan, and we're starting to hear and Porsche has hybrid technology, but I think there is more of a emphasis on hybrid technology in future Porsche products. Do you think that's a good idea?
I think it has to be, right?
Yeah.
Because, a lot of these companies in general, whether, let's say car companies, they have to do what they have to do to survive,
Yeah.
right? And, just because we want something, there's a decision that's made so high up in the stratosphere that trickles down to eventually culminate into that one droplet that you want as a consumer, whether it's, someone's like, I want a manual ICE engine Macan. Well, how does that happen?
Yeah,
right?
right.
Somebody's got to make a decision all the way up here, and then it goes to R&D, then it goes to marketing, then it goes to budgets, then it goes to manufacturing, then it goes to testing, and then it goes to, is this a market item that we can even put out? What's the audience for this market, right?
Yeah.
And then does it make sense?
Right. And that's the same. We talk about this all the time, how enthusiast wants wagons. There's a wagon guy over there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the reality is, how many wagons can you sell?
I mean, sure.
That's why every time
they for Turismo because
exactly,
people aren't buying.
People aren't buying them. We love them as enthusiasts, but when it comes down to putting our money down for it, no one buys them. So you can't fault.
And that's because somebody like me can't afford them new, so we're hoping somebody else buys them so we can get them used.
Yeah, but
and that never happens.
The manufacturer can't hope to get your sale 5 years from the time that they produce it. So
but I can hope that it'll work.
I'm just curious. What percentage, just offhand, of your customers actually order a Toyota versus buying one off the lot, or having you find one for them and just bringing them in that's already been built?
So a lot of our customers come in and see what's available in the pipeline and then sort of reserve it before it arrives.
Okay.
Long before it arrives, maybe like a month and 2 months, something like that. So it's not necessarily like an ordering cycle as much as it is that, even for the Toyota customer, they're actually well aware of the scarcity. So they go, I'm looking for this.
Right.
Because that would have been the route that we would have gone with your employee.
Right.
If it didn't exist, which it almost didn't, right?
Right. You had one.
Yeah.
Or there was one. And
There-
all the
there
dealers
was
know
one.
that there's only one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There was one. So, well,
I'm going to have to tell her this later because I don't know if she realizes that.
yeah. But
She said that with different dealers she talked to, I said, oh, do they have one there? And she said, no. They said they can get one.
Right. But they
Right.
kept trying to sell her the car that she didn't want. They're like, why don't you buy this one? They're like, I want that one. She's like, why don't you buy this one? I want that one. And
Right.
it just is this
Because
circle
with,
she can
with
get out.
Porsche, Boo and I remember, 10, 15 years ago, they used to come to us and say, what would it take for your members to order a Porsche?
Sure.
Their dream Porsche. And they would say, you're buying your dream car. Wouldn't you want it the way you want it? And we would tell them, well, here we're used to driving to a lot and coming home with the car that same night, not being told, well, in 3 months you're going to have your dream car.
Right.
And I said, so that's a mentality. But after COVID hit, that was kind of like almost forced upon. And then people suddenly started saying, oh, I can order all my cool options that I want, my special color and everything. And then, Porsche, realizing that now they've got them exactly where they want them, started sending them emails saying, hey, your car's just started being produced. Here's a photo of it.
Yeah.
It's photo day 2 and whatnot. So in the long, because of COVID, I think Porsche got what they wanted was people ordering their dream cars versus the dealers ordering them.
Yep.
And hoping they get the mix right.
But I still think they're ordering only black, silver,
They
and
are.
white cars.
Well, funny statistic, black, silver, and white. What percentage of consumers do you think own a black, white, and silver car in the U.S.?
Oh, I would say 70%.
Yeah, I would say 70%.
85%.
85%. We're so
85%.
boring. We're so boring. And that's
safe-
why
it's a safe
that's
color.
why you look at
Yep.
complain why colors aren't available. Because people don't buy
Because
them.
it's the market demand.
The market
Yeah,
demand.
yeah, it's
The
the market
dealer's going
demand.
to order or
Yep.
put cars in their lot that they can sell. Bright yellow. I love blues. I love, but people are going to buy the gray one, the silver one, the black one. So you can't fault them for stocking those colors.
Yeah. And, for the family car, I'm definitely a victim of that, right? Right now we have a black Sequoia. I'm like,
I love colors, but for some reason I have mostly boring colors because I buy them, I get the best deal on used cars that are kind of the ones that don't stand out, right? So,
now to be fair, my 996 Turbo is silver.
Yeah.
But it's because I want it in silver.
but if you had the opportunity to get it in speed yellow or like the green,
You still got to
or-
live with it, though.
Yeah,
It's different
I
going
mean-
to Cards and Coffee and seeing one and saying, that looks pretty
I
cool.
would love to have a bright color car, and I would rock it every day if I could.
You would
afford
drive that Ruby Stone Cayman that we had?
it. Absolutely. If I could afford it, I would drive it.
Yeah,
every
there's
day.
my car.
That's very nice. Very
That's
nice.
typical German color.
Now you have the fairly rare front bumper guards on.
In the U.S.,
Yeah.
The little boop boops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little boop boops.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, super cool car, but that's what I mean. It's like I like the way that it looks.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're right. Let's take it back for a second. If something were to be speed yellow, I mean, it would be a roof.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just sort of like for me, a lot of times the identity of this car has to like match.
Right.
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 the only thing missing on your car is a PCA sticker.
Yes.
Well, and center caps. You have PCA center caps?
No, we haven't gone that route yet.
I still don't have.
But we will
center caps.
definitely get you set up with that. One last question before we kind of catch up on the business end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Is Manny and Damon are always saying, it's pretty interesting that we're sitting in the middle of this paradigm shift in the automotive industry, and for a while there it was like, oh, it looks like we're going to go full speed ahead with EV. Now we're starting to see hybrid technology, and as we were talking about my staff's car, she moved into a hybrid and really didn't even flinch. And she's getting more power, better gas mileage.
I'm not even sure she realized it. I don't want to speak for Charlotte, but I mentioned something about the battery.
Yeah.
Oh, it has this kind of warranty on it. And she was like, is that good?
Well, she doesn't even know she has a hybrid.
I didn't think that was a key thing. That's what really surprised me. It made me wonder how many people buying Camrys realize that they're buying a hybrid, because it doesn't say hybrid all over it.
Right.
And then it also made me wonder, and I want to ask Steve Postal, the general manager of Porsche Sun Valley, how many
Steve's
people
a great
get
guy.
Yeah, how many
Thanks,
people
Steve.
get in the new Macan and don't realize it's an EV?
Oh, that's interesting.
Now we know from the look
Yeah.
of it immediately it's an EV, but how many
Right.
people get in and then are later told this is the EV?
Right, and we talked about the new GTS, the number one prize for the fall raffle. It's a GTS with staggering performance, but they put T hybrid on the side of it, and I'm like,
Worst thing ever.
I'm like, why did you didn't need to do that? I mean, maybe we did hear about how you kind of have to put that for the first responders so that they know that there's a battery and be able to. I get that,
Sure.
but it did. Remember like the GMCs? I think they had like green hybrid emblems on the
Yep.
both sides, on the back, on the grill.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really only got like 5 miles more range or whatever it was.
Yep.
I'm like, if it's a good performing car, just leave it as a good performing car. Like, why do you have to announce?
But then
to
you
the
got
world?
now we got to explain to them. I can't tell you how many times I've said it's not a Prius hybrid, because that's what they think, that it's Porsche is becoming more fuel efficient.
Right.
And I go, it's pure performance. It's not
full performance.
not like a Prius. I said it's more power, but
But it is in a sense like a Prius, where like you don't have to worry about it. It's not like
Nope.
you're
Right.
plugging in your GTS or anything. Like you just drive it. You just drive it, and the battery takes care
but
of
they
itself.
have plug-in hybrid Priuses
Correct.
They do.
Yeah,
they have that as
now, which
well.
I think is great, because you get, depending on your commute, you might be able to pull off a full
Yeah, I'll go all day
electric
without
drive.
Well, it's the same thing though with a 4Runner. So they have a 4Runner hybrid now. New 4Runner, sick car, super cool. But the hybrid model, it's specifically there for performance, more power,
okay.
more
More power,
takeoff,
yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the same ideology, right? I mean, it's just it's supplementary. It's not a crutch anymore.
Right. And I think there was a point in time when the quickest 0 to 60 Toyota was actually a RAV4. I think it was the RAV4,
Oh, I don't know that.
like hybrid, whatever, with like 300 horsepower. Like it was the quickest 0 to 60 car for a little while.
I can see the comments coming in right now if you're wrong.
No, I actually remember something.
I'm not dreaming this.
There was
am I?
something about that, like, I don't know, 5 years ago. I remember
Exactly.
reading
Because I
about
remember
that.
going,
That was the thing.
The RAV4
Yeah.
is the fastest car in the Toyota.
Yeah,
lineup?
just like the GMC Cyclone back in the day would be the fastest Ferrari
Yeah.
that Ferrari could sell.
Fact check
It's
me,
like
people.
one of those
Fact
things.
check me, people.
I just remember on Top Gear when Jeremy Clarkson proved the M3 was more fuel efficient than a Prius.
Oh yeah.
Because he went flat out, flat out around the racetrack, get
Right.
better gas mileage.
I mean, to be fair, and I'm just giving you a little foresight into the Toyota future, but we're going to soon see a GR RAV4.
GR RAV4.
So I don't know if you want to look that up and take a look at that. This thing's actually pretty sick. I should have sent you a picture
Yeah.
of it because it just came back from the
I'll
National
try and
Toyota
bring it up
Conference.
right now, actually.
But
Interesting.
it's
Okay.
it's cool. It is a performance oriented RAV4.
Wow. All right, folks. Well, we're definitely going to have you back because I would love to talk more globally about the dealerships and what they're facing. It's a different world, especially with EVs and hybrids, and where we believe a lot of the money making is for dealerships is in the service area with cars.
By the way, I'm just going to cut in real quick. Is it that one up there on the screen now? If you're watching YouTube, on the right,
the red one.
It's the red one. Okay, so
320 horsepower.
Wow, there you go.
Plug-in hybrid.
Yep.
Interesting.
All right, I want to remind everyone to be sure to head over to PCA.org to sign up for PCA's newsletters, performance news, e-brake news, and Mart Fresh, all free. In the news Manny collected, we're going to kick it off with, I saw the interior, but this has to do with the new electric Cayenne.
So now it's in the LA being tested. And the main thing to take from this, if you go to the Auto Evolution website, is those gigantic headlights that everyone was seeing that was really ugly, which I knew Porsche was just doing that to disguise it. You can see the headlights are normal size. They still got the sticker on it, but you can see now the cutout for it. It was just a sticker they put on there to give the illusion of ginormous headlights.
And I wonder if it's the same with the Cayenne. The top quote-unquote headlights that you're seeing are actually just running lights, and actually will the headlights be down below like the electric Macan?
I'm sure it
should be the same, right? You would think
the same
it's the same
technology.
Yeah.
What's not pictured is, and I think it's going to look really cool because it looks cool in the Macan electric, is the off-road package, which on the Macan they did a phenomenal job. So I can't wait to see what that will look like as well. But it's almost here, and the front end doesn't have gigantic headlights. So everyone said that was ugly. I can't believe they're making that.
It's a disguise, folks. It's a disguise.
And there may be even other changes. They do a great job of hiding stuff in plain sight, and this is a good example.
Yeah, and some insiders we've spoken to that have taken the new electric Cayenne around for a spin, they were even more impressed with that platform than they were when they were initially introduced to the electric Macan. So can't wait to drive it myself. That'd be pretty cool. The next news item, I would say when you talk about lawsuits, it's not as fun, but we should probably talk about it.
So this is a class action lawsuit for the Porsche Mobile Charger Plus, which is a charger for your house that was overheating. Ooh. And so Porsche's fix for this was to throttle down the amperage. So it was taking 20 hours to charge your car, not the 9.5 to 10.5 that people are expecting. Oh. So what was they basically come home, plug in next morning, go back to work, you got a full charge, wasn't happening. Oh. And they found out it was because instead of really fixing the issue, they just throttled down the amperage, and hopefully no one would notice. But
someone noticed.
Everyone noticed. So went from 40 to 20 amps, I think, which is pretty huge.
That's noticeable.
I'm sure if you own one of these chargers, you have probably been contacted by the law firm, and if not, just Google it, and maybe you'll get the new replacement charger or whatever Porsche is going to do to fix this.
Yeah. Well, as we're recording this, I know several of the PCA members are having a great time at Treffin Jackson Hole, which sold out quickly, but we are still accepting folks for Unstock 2025. That's going to be November 16th at Porsche Santa Clarita. Registration is open. We're kind of getting down to the wire of how much room we can accept people. So if you plan to be there and you want to show your modified Porsche, go ahead and get registered soon because we will close it.
Please send a good picture of your car.
You mean take the car out of the garage?
A close-up of your engine tells me nothing about your car.
Yes, we want to make sure we understand the modifications you've done to your car. So I want to make sure and point you over to PCASimRacing.com. If you're looking to race with PCA folks online, check it out. We've got some how-tos, and we've got definitely some races you can watch. And we have some live coverage on PCA's YouTube channel as well of some recent races. And if you're looking for some PCA Insider swag, we have our bottles, we have our mugs and t-shirts if you like. And if you're just simply looking for a PCA Insider decal, send your address information to podcast@pca.org, and we'll send you a set so you can show your love for the PCA Insider on your toolbox or on your car. Finally, is there anything else before we wrap this one up?
Nope, it was very enlightening.
Thank you for joining us. And like I said, we have to have you back. I have more dealership questions. That's definitely at least an hour long. So,
love to be back.
Thank you for coming out. And we are going to make you the newest PCA member and make you official here before you get out of here. Everyone, thank you for listening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and consider sharing our show with fellow Porsche enthusiasts. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.